In today's video, we want to briefly go over patellar fractures. These are fractures of the patella or the kneecap, and they can run the gamut from severe to mild. Patellar fractures account for about 1% of all fractures. They happen mostly to individuals between 20 and 50 years of age, and men are twice as likely to have a patellar fracture as women. It usually is due to a severe blow to the kneecap, automobile accident, falling, things of this nature, although severe muscle spasms can also lead to these types of fractures. So we want to go over briefly just some of the ways that it can happen. There can be a vertical form of the fracture, as we have here, a transverse form of the fracture, as we have here, or a comminuted form of the fracture, which means it's broken into 3 or more pieces. So you've got a vertical up and down, transverse going across, and comminuted, meaning it's 3 or more pieces. Once you know what type of fracture it is, then you need to see how severe it is. A stable patellar fracture is one where it has not separated and the pieces are still touching each other and lined up. A displaced patellar fracture is one where the pieces are separated from each other and no longer lined up. With a stable patellar fracture, you usually just immobilize the joint through a cast or a splint, some sort of immobilizing knee joint that keeps any sort of flexion from happening at all. So the joint is completely immobilized and no weight can be placed on that knee or that joint for 6 to 8 weeks, basically, allowing the fracture to heal. And then that's usually followed by rehab to re-strengthen the muscles and also to regain range of motion in the joint. So stable ones are the easiest to treat. These are the ones where the fracture is not displaced. They remain together and therefore it can be immobilized, no weight bearing, and rehab. Now displaced ones where there's separation in the bone and the sides do not meet, this usually requires some form of surgery. And of course, if you've got a comminuted with 3 or more pieces, it absolutely requires surgery to get that to heal properly. When they do the surgery, if they're able to do it and they don't have to remove any of the bone, as might be possible in a comminuted fracture, they usually create something like this. They use pins and tacks to take a tension line and run it in like a figure 8 over the kneecap, pinning it to the bones in the area, just to hold everything together and still. And then that is immobilized while it all heals. But you've got to keep tension on the area, because basically if you don't tie everything together, then when the quadricep flex, you pull the pieces apart again. So you pin it, put tension on it in this figure 8, which holds it all together while it heals. So the displaced form, where it comes apart, comminuted, you usually need surgery. Once again, immobilized, no weight bearing, and then the rehab follows. So it can be a very painful fracture to have. It's not that common, only 1% of fractures, and as we said, men twice as likely as women for whatever reason. But it's a very painful fracture and one that can inconvenience you a great deal, given the fact that you're not able to use your knee and put any weight on your leg for 6 to 8 weeks, even if it's a stable one and not displaced. So a lot to take in there. This has just been a basic overview then of patellar fractures, what they are, treatment, things like this. If you'd like to learn more about this or related matters, underneath this video you'll see a link. If you'll click on that link, it'll take you to the website that has that information. And while you're on that website, you'll also see a link to an ebook that's ready for immediate download.